welcome to another Workshop Wednesday with Carrie and Dan.
Hi, Carrie. That's Dan. That's Dan.
Yeah,
Depends on
it's
where you're
actually
looking.
backwards.
Oh, anyway, we're here together to share with you we're going to talk about payroll in QuickBooks. There's a lot to know in payroll, so we're going to.
So in general, and if you're an accountant or a bookkeeper or, trusted advisor for your clients, eventually you're going to have this question of, do I want to help someone run payroll? Because payroll is, to any business, that's the lion's share of their expenses, right, Carrie? You agree?
Definitely, it definitely is on mine. So it's a it's an important component.
So, and from my perspective, from Intuit, it's a high stress activity.
You don't want to mess up payroll.
Yeah,
you don't want to be the employee with the check messed up, and you don't want to be the owner handing it out wrong. So here's the dilemma.
The payroll Friday was always a pretty high stress level, from our perspective, receiving the calls, but also the people making the calls where, employees are banging on the door, where's my money? So that's it gets pretty high stress. I mean, I was thinking about it this morning. Payroll is kind of like a bad edit in a movie. You don't want to notice a bad edit. You don't want to know when payroll's messed up, because you're going to hear about it. I had a client that was they wanted to split the direct deposit. They gave them the wrong information, and of course the split direct deposit didn't happen. So that's immediate. When you find out those things, like it didn't go in, well, they gave them the wrong routing number so of course it's doing what it's told. So in short, to make a short story long, running payroll, that's a decision. Do you want to get involved with someone, with a client? Sorry, my cat is deciding to stretch at the top.
That's so funny.
Do you want to get involved with running payroll for your clients? If it's something that's pretty new to you, do you want to venture into that? And there are a myriad of options when it comes to payroll. So that's really what we're kind of discussing here today, is what are all the options when it comes to payroll, because you have quite a bit.
You do. So one of the things when
their platform.
And when I started out into the accounting industry, that was one of the things that I cut my teeth on, but it was always after the fact payroll. So I learned how to do all the quarterly returns. And so I understood what was needed. And then I had to figure out how to translate that into QuickBooks back when we only had enhanced payroll. And it did it really well. But like Dan's talking about, if you mess it up, oh my goodness. The other problem that I find even though I know how to run payroll, the other problem that I learned along the way as I built my practice was, what if I want to go on vacation? Do I want to worry about running somebody's payroll every 2 weeks? I had to plan my whole life around the schedule. So, I have the experience with both running it through the enhanced version and then migrating to assisted payroll. And so that is I'm using terms that work for the desktop products. So the big difference is you can run the payroll, you can run all the reports yourself, but the biggest difference is saying, you know what, I don't want to worry about this. I want someone else to do that for me. So you still are in charge of the payroll. You're still running the checks just like before, but when you hit the submit button to your direct deposit, then the magic begins. All that stuff's done for you. So for my own business, for my own one check, when I started my own business in 2010, I said, you know what? I don't want to worry about being so busy with growing my business that I forget to file my own 941, like the shoemaker and their shoes. So I made the conscious decision to switch to it. And the beauty of it is now I can see what it's like from the customer's viewpoint. I know the wonderful things that it does, and it gives me that freedom, and the liability is on them unless I, completely botch it.
And
So,
you have a really good way to perspective on that when you talk about, there's an additional cost, of course, with a full service payroll service. It only takes one penalty to to make up that difference. So that peace of mind that you're talking about of, okay, once it's done, it's out of my hair, so to speak. Someone else can handle those headaches, and they actually stand by that sort of thing when those things are submitted. If they're not submitted on time, then typically the full service payroll services will pay it, not pay it, but I mean guarantee that those things will happen, right?
that's right. And the other thing that a lot of people, might not realize, especially, I mean, I know payroll because I've known it forever, and I've grown up with the evolution of the way QuickBooks is, but oftentimes a customer really, really wants that job costing. Well, it's done very, very well in the desktop version with the integrated payroll. So you can try ADP and Gusto all you want with this product. It's a lot of back end work, mistakes. Being able to hide payroll too is a benefit that you get inside of this product, and you can do it on multi-layers. So if they're worried about the staff seeing it, in enterprise, you can create like 200 permissions. So it's a really good thing. Now, with everything good, there's always a little bit of, they can't do Wyoming and Indiana. And I'm sorry for people in those states, and I can't fix that, but I have advocated for you to get those every single time I asked for it. But what we did do, so that's the bad news. The good news is our team was able to work real hard and negotiate a lifetime discount off of the price. So we get pro advisors, and through when you do it as a pro advisor, you get 20% off lifetime of their MSRP. So that's the good. The bad is they still can't do Wyoming and Indiana, but many of you might not realize that the limit of employees went from 150 to 250 this past couple months. So
now you're talking about desktop assisted. What is
still stuck on the desktop. Okay.
What is the issue with Wyoming and
I don't know. I think
it's just those states, they can't do it at all.
No. Okay, so we have that limitation. So on that note, we do have a standalone version of QuickBooks full service payroll that will cover those states. So there's your workaround. Now it does integrate in you can import it into desktop or online. So if you have a client and they're not sure if they want to be desktop or online, but migrating payroll is a nightmare, don't do it. If you put them in the standalone Don't Touch Me product, the Intuit full service IFSP. Sorry. I know many of you use
Intuit full service payroll.
Right, Intuit full service payroll. So this is basically, if you've heard of Intuit online payroll, it's basically the full service version. It can do those states for you, and it can do 1099s. Now, what you lose with it is the job costing. But if your customer needs to be somewhere between desktop and online, it's a really good solution where you're not messing with your payroll, and you can sleep. You're in compliance.
So with your desktop, so let's just kind of recap the desktop payroll option. So you have enhanced, which is everything is do it yourself. Everything from soup to nuts when it comes to payroll is initiated by somebody inside the desktop product. Then assisted, which is you still do the payroll piece, but you submit it, and then Intuit handles the tax and the form filings.
My favorite.
And then you have somewhere outside of QuickBooks, which is Intuit full service payroll, which integrates or exports its information to desktop
or online.
Or online. And then so now let's kind of shift our gears to the payroll offerings in online. So recently, so just this year, Intuit has revamped their payroll offering inside the online to be everything is full service. So you have
It's
the
not,
ability. Hmm?
it's not a brand new product. They took what
Right,
they had and made it better, right?
right, right.
We've
So
learned a lot.
they used to have the same options, enhanced or in full service, but now they have three offerings, and all of them are for full service, meaning that once you submit the payroll, then Intuit
Tax.
then handles the taxes and form filings for you. So depending on which of those payroll services, or the payroll needs that you or your client has, you may want to choose one over the other. So the three options are core, and then premium, and then elite.
Lead is the
Always go
brand new
to that
one.
elite. Yeah.
So in the old days, it was like an enhanced and a full service, and so enhanced is now core. Differences into it is paying the taxes for you. So there's a little bit of a adjustment there. Then premium is basically your full services you remembered, but there's some other benefits that are added, including timesheets, T-sheets as it comes with
Yeah.
it.
So, and the biggest thing with whether you're doing a payroll service that's inside of QuickBooks, directly added on inside of QuickBooks, whether you're talking desktop or online, is the integration, and then of course the accounting piece of that's handled on the flip side of you running the payroll. So when you mention job costing, that is something, of course, that you want to have integrated directly, because now you can get a little bit more insight out of your reporting because
Right,
you've got payroll running inside the program, whether it's desktop or online. So
right.
with online, and if you have job profitability, that is a key component. That is one of the advancements that they're being able to make when you have an integrated payroll service inside of QuickBooks Online, because now with the job profitability center, and you're running payroll and the T-sheets integrated with the different levels of the services, now you can get a lot more job profitability even off of your labor costs, because as we mentioned before, labor is a big part of your expenses. So if you are in a business that has, where that is a concern, then the payroll, the integrated payroll service is something to really consider. And then there's outside of the Intuit ecosystem. So we've talked about the desktop payroll services. We talked about the online payroll services. We talked about somewhere in between that sends to both. That's all in the Intuit ecosystem. And my hands are going crazy. I don't know why they're
It's me
flipping
too.
around like that. But then there are other payroll offerings like ADP and Gusto and OnPay, and
On and
the
on and
list goes
on.
on and on.
Patriot.
the Yeah, the biggest, everybody's got their favorites, and I know there's, Gusto is very, very popular outside full service payroll service. The challenge there is how that information now is going to get to your QuickBooks. And when investigating those services, you definitely want to understand from them, well, how is that going to happen? And you may want it that way. If it's a one journal entry, not split out by person, that's what you're going to get. And you may have different options to be able to do that. But you really want to understand with those payroll services what you're getting, because flips, the pros and cons of those things when you're weighing the options.
Right. No, it's very important to consider that, because you have to have your customer wants good reporting, or if you're the customer, you want good reporting. So if you are constantly choosing outside of the QuickBooks ecosystem, you're going to lose the job costability. As as QuickBooks Online evolves and they're adding T-sheets and stuff, that's to solve that problem. And also, you've got to keep in mind as well, who's getting into the data. If you're doing a lot of journal entries, they might figure out what people are making, and there are careful logins and security settings that hide that. So you've got to consider all that. It might not be the right fit for everybody to do something outside of QuickBooks or vice versa. So whatever your one size fits all, you may have to be ready to adjust. The other thing I think that's worth mentioning too, that as you were talking, I was thinking about some of these, promise, I know when I switch people to assisted payroll, they get all nervous about, wait, I have to run payroll on a Wednesday and then checks are ready on a Friday. So keep those things in mind. I've heard that some of them aren't just the 2 days, it's like 6 days, or, oh, we can do it faster, but we're going to charge you more. So make sure you understand that. Make sure you understand fully how much of the liability you're taking on. Do you really want to have your vacation on a noose? I don't, but it might be your model. Are you really making that much money on payroll? Because everybody's knocking the prices down to nothing. So focus on making sure, you can make a lot of money helping someone get their payroll set up, cleaned up, working. Focus on those kind of jobs. You can make a ton of money. I would be doing that. I love doing it. I just don't have time. So that's a really good niche. But at the end of the day, if you move them to a full service option, then you can put your head on the pillow and know that they're being taken care of. That's how I've switched my way of thinking.
And the new QuickBooks Online payroll offerings, they're really rolling out and putting some focus on auto payroll. So
yeah,
when you get to the point, right now you can only do auto payroll if everybody's on direct deposit and everyone's on salary. Well, of course, that makes it really easy to do auto payroll. What if you have an hourly employee? If you have one hourly employee, you don't have that option. But they're rolling that out and making that an option. So that's a real win when it comes to set it, forget it type of thing. Well, once you've got it set up, and then everything else is just automatic. The elite payroll service, and that's kind of what we want to close on. Whatever that payroll service is that you do land on, and if it's outside of your comfort zone, err on the side of Intuit taking care of those payroll things for you, because elite will have an onboarding process that gets it set up properly, because of the guarantee that elite has. They will pay for problems, for mistakes, penalties, and interest, whether it's their fault or your fault. So that's a great way to kind of venture into that, if that's even something that you're looking for. Get it set up on the elite side of things, because then Intuit handles the lion's share of the setup and making sure that things are created properly. And then after that, it's really just a managing piece of the data and the payroll service.
And oftentimes we get asked this question too, Dan, people that don't know payroll. I mean, I cut my teeth on it. So I know the feeling, and like we said, you don't want to mess it up. So if you're advising your client and you want to see how it works, like that's the best way to see the reporting. If you do choose that elite version, hold your hand with your client, be there with them, watch the process, learn with them, and just, assure them that you're there every step of the way, and you'll learn a ton about it. And then you'll be able to see from both sides of it, and you'll be able to advise your client better.
And as an added bonus, if you're using QBOA to manage your own books, the Your Books actually comes with a free, totally free elite payroll service inside of the Your Book section of QBOA. So it gives you an option to really try it. Drink your own champagne, as the case may be. Oh, we lost Carrie.
Drink your own champagne.
Oh, look at that.
It's my new champagne glasses. There's nothing better than trying it yourself, honestly, and then you can advise and see the pros and the cons, so you can make a better selection for your client. That's what they're counting on. They need your help. So I hope that we have helped you with navigating.
And we're going to put some resources in the comments here. So there's a link to Carrie's website where it just lists all the payroll options. And
Wyoming and Indiana problem, it's there. You'll see all the good, the bad, and the pretty ugly.
And then we created a course on school bookkeeping where we talk about much of what we just talked about here, but being able to choose the right payroll service for your client. So we go through each of the payroll offerings that are out there, the outside ones as well, to be able to really make the right choice for not just you, but also for your client.
That's right.
So that kind of wraps up our workshop Wednesday today. Carrie, you got any final thoughts?
No, just be super careful with payroll. Payroll can be something that you might have to navigate and really think through the product. So don't be quick to have a one size fits all. Try to get educate yourself as much as you can and drink some champagne.
There you go. All right, we'll see you next week.
See you later. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.